Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for coming and stopping by. So today we're going to be making a jacket with a shawl neck collar, and we're going to be using this pattern. This pattern was cut in a previous video. We used our basic bodice pattern to cut it, and today we're going to use it to make a shawl neck collar jacket. So quickly, what we're going to be doing is, first and foremost, we're going to cut out our bustier. We're going to cut out our darts. We're going to cut out our darts, okay? Our darts, it's optional if you want to cut it out. Yes, if you don't want to cut it out, no problem. But when you cut it out and you push this inside, it makes it look very easy and looks very neat. So quickly, we're going to cut out our darts. After cutting out our darts, we're going to be putting it on the fabric that we want to use. So let's just go ahead and do that. We'll cut it out and we'll leave allowance also. I'll also be doing the one for the front pattern also. We're going to be cutting out our darts. We're going to cut out our shoulder darts and place it on our fabric. So as you can see, I've transferred the patterns onto the fabric that we're going to be using. So this is for the back. You can see I left the 1/2 inch sewing allowance to join these two darts, to join these two pieces together at the darts where I took out the darts. So I have 1/2 inch here. Also for the front here, I have 1/2 inch there to join the darts. So I'm going to do that quickly. But even before I do that, I'm going to transfer these patterns onto the lining that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using soft suit lining, so I'm going to transfer that also, join the front to the front together and the back together on the lining and on the main fabric. Then I'll come back and show you. So this is my fusible lining. I have cut it. I'm going to be ironing it onto the front part. The front part where the lapel is, I'm going to be ironing it onto it, okay? And I'm also going to, I cut four layers, 4 pieces. I'm also going to be cutting it onto the lining. I'm going to be ironing it onto the lining part. It just gives you structure where the lapel is. So I'll iron it and I'll join and I'll come back and show us. Okay, so I'm back. I realized that I missed out a lot of steps, so let me just take you through them. So this is the center front. I told you about putting the fusible lining. So I've ironed down the lining. After ironing down the lining on the 2 sides, the left side and the right side, okay? After ironing it down, I joined these 2 sides. That is the front. I joined the 2 fronts also this way too, okay? And I joined the back together, the back sides that we cut. Remember that we cut them at the shoulder darts. After doing that, I joined them by the side seams, okay? I joined them by the side seams. So this is how the front, the real fabric came out, okay? The main fabric, the main material, this is how it came out. You can see it's already looking like, okay, it's taking shape. So I did the same thing for the lining also. This is the lining. This is the lining. I joined fusible interlining onto the front part, okay? That is the front, the same way I did it with it. But if you notice, I didn't use the soft lining for this particular side because this side is going to be the side that's going to show on the front of the jacket. So I used this same main material to make this side, to get this side, and I joined it to the other side of the front here. This is the back here. The back, after joining the two backs, I left this space. Okay, I left a little bit of space in between. I didn't join this space in between in the middle, because this is what I'm going to use to turn it when I'm finished sewing everything, joining. I'm going to turn it from this middle part here. Okay, and this is the other side. So if we look at this, this is the lining. This is the one that's going to be inside. I use the main fabric for this. Okay, for the lapel parts, I use the main fabric for this. So I hope we can understand this. This is basically what I've done. So I'm going to put this aside. Now we're going to go back to the main material. We have joined by the sides. I've joined by the sides. I've pressed it down. I did a bit of top stitching, if you see, when I was joining, just to give it a bit of flair. So now I'm going to go back now and join. I'm not going to start the joining of this lapel now. So I'm going to come here, if you can see, back front to front. Okay, inside, front side to front side. You go there and you join this part. I'll join it and I'll bring it back now. So I've joined this part now. I've joined the middle here. So I want to connect this front now to the back. And how am I going to do it? I'm going to take the middle point, the midway of this lapel here that I have joined. Okay, and I'm going to place it right here at the center of the back, the center of this back line here, where the zip normally is at the back, the zip allowance that we left, and I'm going to place it right there. I'll pin it down so that it will not shift, and I'll continue pinning down the others till I get so as I said, we're going to take this, the collar, the midway of the lapel, this collar here, we're going to make sure that it aligns with the midway of the back. Okay, the mid of the back, we'll pin it down. We'll also go to the shoulder. We'll make sure that the shoulder seam of the shoulder dart of the front aligns with the shoulder seam in front, the shoulder dart in front, and we pin everything down. I'll pin everything down. Okay, so that it will be easy when I'm about to sew it. You can see, we'll make sure that everything aligns. It's easy, but we'll have to twist the sewing machine a bit here to maneuver the sewing machine a bit. And this is it, all pinned down. Okay, I'm going to get the back also. Sorry, I mean the inside, the lining also. I'll go to my sewing machine also and sew. I'll go to my sewing machine also and sew this place down. Okay, after I've sewn it down, I'm going to pin it. I'll sew this side down and I'll pin it to the back. I'll pin it to the main body the same way I did the front. Also, before joining, you know, something you need to note. When I joined this place, I now realized I had a bit more of excess fabric at the back for joining the back. So I went back to my pattern paper and I placed it. I realized that the allowance that I took for the sewing allowance was a little bit less. So now my allowance starts from here. So I'm now going to go and sew on this place here, on this particular line here that I've chopped down. So always cross check your markings, always cross check your allowances that you've left behind so that you have a perfect fit. The same thing also for the lining also. When I checked it also, I realized that I had not sewn exactly what I was meant to sew. So there's nothing wrong in you going back to cross check. It just gives you a very better finish. Okay, so here we go. We've attached the neckline. Okay, we've attached it, we've joined it, and we've joined all the sides. It's a bit tricky, but you just take your time, pin it down. When you pin it down all the way and just be following it, when you get to this place, lift up the machine a bit and follow it all the way down. Make sure that the shoulder seams are lined. So now we're going to take our lining, which we have already done, and we're going to face our lining front to front. So we're going to face the main fabric, okay, and we're going to take the lining and we're going to sew them on front to front, starting from the bottom here. the center middle, okay, the center middle. Then we're going to take the sides also, and we're going to join them all the way. We're going to join it all the way here, join it all the way here, all the way, all the way. We can pin down. You pin down at each of the notches at the centers, like here. This joining here, we pin down. We know it's together. We pin down here and sew them. We sew it all the way around. Make sure that this phase 2 aligns. The center back of the lining and the main fabric, they all align together, and we sew all around. After we finish sewing all around, we bring it out from inside here. So right now I've gone ahead to pin all the inside, okay. I've pinned it all around to make it easier to sew, and I've aligned up all the lines, the front, the main fabric and the lining. So now I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and sew it all around, press it, turn it, and come and show you.